So here we are looking at the product rule, another rule of differentiation. So what is the product rule? Well, it's when you're taking the derivative of a product of two functions. Now, normally we don't think of it as f of x times g of x. Okay, but basically two pieces you can multiply together. So the derivative of that is one function times the derivative of the other plus the other function's derivative times the other function by itself, which sounds terrible. I know that didn't make any sense. So let's take a look at a couple examples. I think that's what's going to be clear for you to understand. So for instance, let's say I have these two quantities. So I want to find the derivative of f of x. I'm going to not call it f of x. That might get confusing. We're going to call it the derivative of this piece here. We're going to have, let's say, 3x minus 2x squared times the quantity 4x minus 1. Okay. Now, looking at this, could you FOIL, clean it up, and then use previous rules like sum and difference and power rule? Absolutely. And I actually would encourage that if you're not comfortable with the product rule, making sure you get it right. That's the important thing. But let's look at how the product rule works. Let's make it powerful here. So like this would be like my f of x. And this would be my g of x. Now I don't think of it that way either. Basically I think first piece and second piece. And so this is what your derivative is going to be. First piece, just write it down. Leave it alone and use parentheses. My goodness, use parentheses. Times the derivative of this piece. Well, the derivative of 4x minus 1 is 4. And then to that, we're going to add the second piece times the derivative of the first piece. So the derivative of this, 3 minus 4x. And that is an example of the product rule. So what you notice here is that this is f of x, g prime of x, g of x, f prime of x. I really don't think of it in terms of f and g as functions. First piece times the derivative of the second piece plus the second piece times the derivative of the first piece. You just got to cover your bases. Everything gets differentiated, everything gets written down and just left alone. Okay? Let's look at one more example. Let's throw a little trig into this one. So here's an example with trig. Not much with trig so far, but we're going to try. Let's say I have f of x equals 8x cubed sine of x. Okay? Can you imagine doing this with definition of derivative? It'd be terrible. Okay? And so we're going to use our product rule. You got to start recognizing, okay, well, this piece and this piece. Oh, okay, they're being multiplied together. And so because they're being multiplied, I'm going to use the product rule. So our product rule is going to be, just write this guy down. Just write him down, that's it. So the first piece times the derivative of sine. Okay, the derivative of sine x is cosine x. Plus, please remember to add. A lot of people just stop here. So it's the first part, write it down. Derivative of the second part, plus the second part, just write them down. Times the derivative of the first part. So parentheses are good things, guys. Keep them in there. This first piece is 24x squared. From there, cleanup may be required, but honestly, just leave it like this. It's fine, okay? And that's the product rule.